Guys, have you ever wondered why people can't buy homes anymore? Why are they just getting through the day instead of buying a house? Today we're diving into that. Let's get started. For generations, owning a home meant you'd made it. You worked, you saved, you scraped together a down payment, and eventually you had a place that was yours. Not rented, not borrowed. Yours. That's mostly gone now. For Gen Z and millennials, the math doesn't just look hard, it looks broken. Wages crawled forward while housing prices sprinted. And the older generation's go-to advice hasn't changed. Work harder, skip the coffee, stop wasting money on avocado toast. It's a nice sentiment. It's also useless. When home prices outpace wages by hundreds of percent, skipping a $5 latte isn't going to close a $400,000 gap. You'd have better luck putting out a house fire with a garden hose. Take Daniel. 29, software developer, decent salary by most standards. He's been saving seriously for 6 years. Every year the number he needs gets further away, not closer, because the goalpost moves faster than his paycheck does. He's not lazy. He's not bad with money. He just picked the wrong decade to start. Here's where people usually push back. Didn't every generation have it rough? The 1980s had their own nightmare. Mortgage rates hit 18% in 1981. A home only cost about 3 times the average salary back then, sure, but good luck actually financing it. That's a fair point, and it deserves an honest answer rather than a dismissal. The difference is that the 80s crisis was a weather event. It passed. Rates came down within a few years and the system reset. What's happening now doesn't look like weather, it looks like climate. In cities like London, New York, Tokyo, or Istanbul, homes now run 8 to 15 times the average salary, and there's no rate cut on the horizon that fixes that. Prices dipped after 2008, then took off again after 2020, when cheap borrowing and pent-up demand collided. Between 2019 and 2024 alone, home prices climbed around 31%, while incomes managed about 22%. The latter didn't just get steeper. Somebody took a saw to the rungs. And it's not one broken part, it's the whole structure. Not enough homes get built. Investors buy up entire blocks as assets rather than places to live. Short-term rentals eat into what little supply exists. None of that resolves itself on its own, no matter how long you wait. Follow the money and it gets uncomfortable fast. Rising home prices don't just sit there, they flow somewhere. Pension funds hold mortgage-backed securities that need home values to keep climbing. Banks carry those same assets on their books, and a serious price drop doesn't just hurt homeowners, it threatens bank balance sheets. Institutional landlords, the ones buying up entire suburban blocks, need rents and prices to keep rising to hit their return targets. None of these players want prices to fall. Not the funds, not the banks, not the landlords. So when people ask why nobody seems to be fixing this, that's part of the answer. Too much of the existing economy is now betting on prices staying high. That's not a conspiracy. It's just where the incentives point. So what happens when an entire generation quietly accepts they'll never own anything? Something shifts. Call it doomerism if you want the internet's word for it. It started as a joke on forums, a shrug wrapped in dark humor, and it's since hardened into something closer to a worldview. The old deal was simple. Work hard, buy a house, raise a family, retire in peace. That deal is dead, and pretending otherwise doesn't bring it back. There's a strange kind of logic that follows. If 2 decades of disciplined saving still won't cover a down payment, why save at all? Spend it now. Take the trip. Eat the good meal. This is what people mean by doom spending, and once you hear the reasoning laid out, it's hard to call it irrational. If the future's already off the table, there's not much left to protect it for. But here's a wrinkle worth sitting with. Not everyone opting out is doing it out of despair. Some are doing it on purpose. A growing number of younger workers have looked at the math, shrugged, and decided renting forever with more freedom beats owning with a 30-year leash attached. That's not resignation. That's a different bet. Still, for most people, a home was never just an asset. It was the thing that made an unpredictable world feel a little less unpredictable. Take that away from a generation and you don't just get frustrated renters, you get people who've stopped planning past next year, because next year is as far as the ground feels solid. Is any of this fixable? Depends where you look. Vienna has run a public housing system for nearly a century that keeps a huge share of the city affordably housed. Singapore does something similar through state-backed homeownership. A handful of cities are experimenting with mixed results, with housing cooperatives. None of these are miracle cures, and they come with their own trade-offs. But they're proof that housing doesn't have to work like a stock market. It can be built to function like infrastructure instead. None of this is designed to be fixed. It's designed to be sustained. A housing market that quietly stopped serving the people trying to buy into it a long time ago, and started serving the people who already own a piece of it. Maybe the real question isn't why young people gave up on buying homes. Maybe it's what kind of society keeps calling a roof over your head a luxury. If that reframed anything for you, stick around. More of this kind of thing is coming.